All right, so we see on Palm Sunday, so Jesus obviously had been traveling around. He had had thousands and thousands and thousands of people following him and seeing his miracles and hearing his words and being inspired to repent, to be baptized, to change their lives. There were just so many people that had really come to love Jesus and that were changed by Jesus's love. So that sort of culminates. The high point of that of all that was Palm Sunday. So a week before he was to be put to death and crucified, they had sort of a parade for him. They found a donkey that he would ride into town on, and those who followed him and loved him, they laid palm branches down ahead of him. This is how people would honor an earthly king back in that time. Now the difference is that earthly kings demand that you love them. They command you to be loyal to them. They command you to pay them taxes and to follow their rules and all those things. So that's a big difference. They're being made to do it. These people are honoring Jesus because they know he's the Son of God and they love him. So they are honoring Jesus in the most loving way. They love him because he has shown them love. They love him because he has taught them. They love him because he has told them about the kingdom of heaven. And so that this Palm Sunday, this laying out of a path of palms to honor him, was really just based on pure love, and not anything like an earthly king, having a big parade. Probably people were gathered up to stand and wave at him as he goes by. These people were doing it because so many people had come to know and love Jesus. So that was really kind of the culmination, and that's what we celebrate on Palm Sunday. Sadly, it's just a week later where Jesus is arrested and betrayed and condemned to death, carry his cross, and die. So it's amazing the quick turnaround, but it didn't mean that those people that loved Jesus went away or betrayed him. They weren't the ones that wanted Jesus to be put to death. Those people were afraid. They were afraid because Jesus had been arrested and because of what was happening to Jesus. But they mostly hid away, awaiting maybe a safer time. They also were very sad and confused because they knew that Jesus had died, and even though he had told them that that God would rebuild this temple on the third day, and in so many different ways, Jesus had said, I will rise up and I will live again, and so many of them still just, they thought, well, Jesus is dead, and what do we do now? And they were kind of scared. But we know that on Easter Sunday and the resurrection, which we won't have another class before Easter Sunday, but those apostles and each of the disciples that saw Jesus once again after he had been crucified, after they knew that he had been killed, when they saw him again, the joy, just the sheer joy they must have felt, they must have just been bursting. I mean, that would be like every Christmas you've celebrated times 100. The amount of joy and happiness that they had seeing Jesus alive again. So it just, it's something that is the reason why Easter is such a wonderful celebration for us, and why we spend 40 days of Lent praying, preparing, trying to become closer to God, trying to be better people, is all to make us, and we'll never fully be worthy of God's love because we are all sinners, but we want to make him proud of us. We want to show him how much we love him, and that's why we have Lent and the preparation and all that we do leading up to Lent. So again, remember, this week, as this week goes on Holy Thursday, that's the day of the Last Supper. We remember the Last Supper and what happened there. Of course, Jesus taught his apostles some of the last things to prepare them for his death. Jesus was betrayed by Judas at the Last Supper, or following the Last Supper, I'm sorry, as he led soldiers to arrest Jesus. And then, of course, Jesus died on Friday, which we call Good Friday. So Good Friday is usually a day where we really spend in prayer and sort of just quiet thought. Um, it used to be a day where, well, you aren't going to go to school because there's no school on Good Friday. So that's one way that they give us that extra time. So don't just play video games all day. Be a good day to maybe try to say the rosary. Maybe watch a video of the Stations of the Cross. Something in prayer. Something thanking God for His great sacrifice, because we know Jesus went through so much pain in His death, and we want to thank Him for that. And then Holy Saturday is again kind of spent as a quiet day, um, as we sort of quietly prepare for Easter Sunday, and then Sunday morning, hopefully we're all able to go to church, and we're all able to dress up in our the best outfits that we have, and go to church and sing and pray and hear the words, Jesus has risen, as Father reads the gospel to us. So that's kind of how we celebrate this coming week. So like I said, since we won't have a class, I just wanted to sort of go over that with you before we did. All right, so as we move on to the last activity, go to page 169, and there's the chapter review. So you'll see here the chapter review. It just has some questions here that you can fill in based on what we learned today, and based on the first 3 commandments. So it's like a fill in the blank. So you guys should be able to handle that, I'm sure. And that pretty much wraps it up. So just in summation, we learn that God gave us the 10 commandments. We learned that God gave the commandments to Moses on Mount Sinai. We learned that the 10 commandments teach us to love God, to love ourselves, and to love others. And we learned that the first, second, and third commandments teach us that we are to honor and love God above all things. So all 3 of those commandments, remember, that's what they are focused on, is God and how we worship and love God. And last, we learned that when we show gentleness to others, we show we love God. So that's a lesson I want you to take away from this week, is to be gentle and caring to others is a way that we show love to God, to God specifically, right to God. We show love to others, and it shows love to God. So I hope you can take away all those great lessons from this week. I hope that you've had a wonderful Lent season, as hopefully you've gone through your sacrifices, you've done hopefully some extra prayer, maybe you've been able to go to confession, say some rosaries, any way that you were able to honor God. I'm really proud of you guys. Thank you for learning today and for doing all the activities, and God bless you on this coming Easter Sunday, and I hope you all have a wonderful spring break. Thank you for learning, because we know to know God is to love God.